Well, wanted to do a quick video of setting up the new bow, the Axius Ultra 80 pound. I've got it set on the 29-inch setting right now with, for me, I left the grip on, so again, I don't know if I mentioned it before, my RX4 Ultra, I took the grip off, so I'm shooting it on a 28.5-inch setting. This one I'm able to get on the 29 because the grip on there, it feels good. But starting to do the sighting process, and it's something that over the years I've figured out what type of targets I like to aim at, which type of targets I don't like to aim at. And when you're doing the process of actually sighting in your bow, you really need to try to simplify it. This is a method that's not new, you know, aiming at a horizontal line or a vertical line for distance and then obviously windage. But sighting in, 3 arrows are touching the tape there, 20, 30, 40. You know, sometimes when I try to shoot at a dot, for example, I'll use this pink piece of tape here as an illustration, but I was figuring out over time, and I figured this out a long time ago when I was shooting competitively, I would be shooting on the practice range on 3D animals, and my arrows were just right where they needed to be. I'd be aiming at the top of the lower 12 ring, and they'd be right in that area, comfortable group size. I'd go onto the bag targets, and I found myself hitting low on the bag targets, and what was happening is I was posting my pin on the dot of the target. And what that essentially means is if my pin represented my thumb represented my pin, and this black roll of tape was the actual fiber, I was putting this where I can just see underneath the dot instead of covering it up like I would on a 3D animal, because there's nothing to aim at other than contours on the body or, you know, a certain area in the body. I was essentially doing this where I was just floating to where I could just see the spot that I wanted to aim at, and I'd have a group right below the dot. So a lot of times when I go to sight in, I don't personally like to shoot at a bag target a lot. Sometimes I just want to get reps in, and I'm not super concerned about, I know my bow's sighted in, and I just want to shoot some distance. I got a bigger target, maybe it's a windy day, maybe I'm working on something else where I go to a bag target. I'll just notice a lot of times, I mean, you can I don't know if you can see on the video, here's my spot. My arrows are grouped right down here. Got a bunch of arrow holes below, very few above. And also something I've noticed when I've been doing these effective range challenges that we're partnering with Rockslide on, and I'm noticing my 50 yard pin, it's like it's hitting 2 to 3 inches below the dot, 2 to 3 inches below the dot before I even do anything with the different shot scenario. And I went back and checked it the other day, and it was, I have a little pink piece of tape on that buffalo, and I'm posting up, I know I'm posting up on that buffalo. So at distance, I cover up everything, so I can't even see the pink. I know that's in that general area, but when it's close enough for me to see it, that's what I'm having a tendency to do. So if you catch yourself finding out that, again, on an animal target, a 3D target, if you will, you're able to impact your point of aim, it equals your point of impact. But then you go to a bag target and you happen to find yourself grouping low, that's potentially what could be happening. You could be posting up your fiber to where you've got your fiber on there, you can see your fiber, but in order to see what you're aiming at, you're actually holding it just underneath. Now, another thing that I do when I want to shoot at a 3D animal for sighting in, let me get you can see on this target here. So on this target here, I'll sight in, or I'll double check on 3D targets. And this one, I've got a pretty distinct shoulder right here. It may be hard to see on the video, but when I'm at distance, I can see this distinct line. And I'll aim right at that corner where, if I'm looking to sight in, obviously it's not going to be in the in the vital rings, which I don't care. But if I can get a distinct shoulder line or a contour line of an animal on a 3D target, I'll sit and I'll do my aiming, my sighting process through here. I'll just number my arrows again as I'm working my way back, and that way I can double check everything. But that's another thing you can add into your you know, sequence or routine or process of sighting in your bow, because like I said, the actual shooting at dots for me is it can be problematic at times, as the 6 to 7 inches between my ears is what creates a lot of variables. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Like I said, I'm working the process of sighting in this new bow. I'm loving the feel of the bow. This bow is actually, it's set up very similar to my RX4 Ultra, same stabilizer setup. I'm running 1 less ounce on the front of this one, so it's a 10-8 combo, and right now they're just 3 ounces on the front, 3 ounces on the back on this one. On my Ultra, I've got 4 on the front. But this bow, because it's a ½ pound heavier starting platform, and I've got more holding weight with this being an 80-pound bow, my pin's holding significantly steadier than with my Ultra. My Ultra's holding good too. I'm not saying that I don't like the way that bow's shooting. That bow's shooting well, but I have a feeling that this bow is going to give me a smaller and tighter holding pattern than that bow will. Again, for those 2 factors, just a touch heavier mass weight. Heavier bow is usually a steadier bow, and then that extra, a few pounds of holding weight I'm getting off of this one. So anyway, maybe just something to think about when you're sighting in your bow or testing your bow, because like I said, I actually had to go back and test this. I'm sitting there shooting my 50-yard shots for my effective range, and I'm hitting low on everything. And I know that, you know, kneeling shots and rotating your core and seated, I have a tendency to drop my bow arm just a touch early, impacting low. But when I'm hitting 6 to 8 inches low of the dot, I knew that was a little bit more than what I could expect. And so I went back and actually tested my 70-pound bow, and that's what I was doing. I was posting up on that dot, and arrows are impacting low. Like I said, something to think about. Maybe you've never dealt with it. Don't worry about it. If you do deal with it, something to work on. Sight in here, get rid of dots on targets, shoot at 3Ds. I love shooting at 3Ds myself. That's why I got 4 or 5 set up in the yard. I'd rather just shoot at 3Ds all the time, even to sight in. So number the arrows, find a good elbow line or something you can hold on that you'll able to aim through, as opposed to posting up to look over. So thanks for checking out this video. See you guys soon.